That's the opening bell for you. Cipla, by the way, is your top gainer, up 1.5%. But on the headline index, absolutely flat with a positive bias. 19,800 is holding. The mid-cap index is up about 100 odd points. So it's a decent start, you'd have to say. A start where the market is trying to build on to its gains. Sensex holding firm above that 66,000 mark. The advanced decline ratio also at 1,600 stocks on the advancing side. But let's take it to the gainers. As I said, Cipla is the one that's ruling the roost this morning, 1.5% higher. Followed by Hindalco, Bajaj Finance, JSW Steel, BPCL, all your top gainers this morning. The cement space, we were just discussing that. Ultratech Cement, Grasim, etc. doing pretty well. And SBI is the one that is looking good. By the way, SBI has had, quite a disappointing year. I mean, this year SBI has done nothing. In fact, it's down almost 9% for the year. So big underperformance. So maybe it's a little bit of traction seen over there. On the downside, though, you have all your IT stocks under a bit of pressure. TCS, Infosys, HCL Tech in the red. Not too much. I mean, less than a 1% cut there, but red nevertheless. HUL, Bharti and Reliance are a couple of other stocks that are just a tad bit in the red. But otherwise, it's a decent screen, no complaints.
Well, that's right, Sonia. The stock of yesterday was Honasa. Mama Earth, it appears it's headed to heaven, actually, because the stock yesterday was up 20%. Today, it's up close to around 12%. So in 2 sessions, you're talking about a 35% gain that we're seeing on Honasa. Just take a look at that. It's moving towards the Jefferies target, which was more than 500, I think 530 rupees odd. So that's one big mover in pre-open. Well, you have Suzlon as well. That's up close to around 4%. That's one of the top volume stocks out there. I don't know what's going on with Paytm. That stock is down close to around 3.5–4%. Large volumes out there. So we'll have to check a little bit more in terms of what's going on that stock. Other stocks in focus, well, you have Apar Industries. They did a QIP of around 1,000 crores. And as we heard that there was strong demand, yeah, there's a large trade that's taking place on Paytm. And that explains why it's down close to around 3%. 2.5% equity has changed hands. We'll try to find out who exactly were the parties to that. Tilak Nagar Industries, the promoter sold 1.5% stake in the company. But they're saying they're looking at using this money to pull down the pledge out there. So that's a stock in focus. Indian hotel sources say that data of around 15 lakh users exposed in Taj hotels, data breach, but that stock is not really reacting as of now. And NMDC, as we told you earlier, that Newsbreak is confirmed. They have increased prices. Stock was up 2%.
You basically have about a 14-15 odd point gain on the Nifty at about 19,800 or so levels. Maybe just take a quick look at the other headline indices. The Nifty Bank, which was up 1/3%, is kind of absolutely flat, so not very much there. And small caps, which rallied, are rallying again. They're straight off the bat. The small cap index has got about 0.8% gains. The mid cap index was absolutely flat. So for the broader market, I mean, it's, I think, a decent start with what we are seeing, at least on the mid cap index is up about a 1/4% as well. So yeah, the Nifty, Bank Nifty, nothing, but the broader market is gotten to a much better start, relatively speaking. Maybe a few other names before we go any further. Advanced decline is comfortably 2:1, so that's good. Honasa, of course, we mentioned. Cipla, Sonia mentioned right off the bat. So Cipla was one of the largest losers yesterday. So there is a bit of a pullback which is coming through. So just under 1,200 on Cipla. Suzlon is back, it's above 40 rupees, 41 plus. I mean, it's, I think, locked up almost 5% gains. You've got New India Assurance, was a big mover yesterday. And I think this month is turning out to be a pretty good one. And it's got large volumes. It's not your usual stocks we mentioned at 9:15. It's up 30% this month so far. So it's got a bit of momentum for going for it as well. You've got BEML, which is up about 2.5%. I think Spark is up about 3% or so. Rushil Decor is up 5%. Only mentioning it because it's got decent sized volumes. But that's about it. I mean, then volumes start to thin down as we go ahead. We were talking about oil marketing companies and how HPCL has done 30% this month. HP is seeing some pullback. It's down 1.5% at about 321, 322 at this point in time. The two big gainers yesterday were auto names, Bajaj and Hero. 3% each on these names yesterday. Hero is down about 3/4. I mean, Bajaj is not coming up on the screen, at least not right now. So we'll pay attention to it. And watch out for some of these sugar names as well. They all rallied yesterday. I mean, for example, EID, Parry, and of course, a lot of the UP-based sugar mills also did well. I can see some sort of indication of some pullback, 1-2% kind of pullbacks coming through in some of these names as well. Maybe look at rate gain as well, which was down 8% yesterday. Stocks at about 660. It's absolutely flat. That QIP issuance, of course, happened. And as Rima told us earlier, SocGen, one of the entities which got allotted, they've sold half their holding straight off. I mean, I guess they made, what, about $20 or so on the share, but very quickly. Sorry.
I just wanted to make one mention on Honasa, right? I mean, an additional 8% rally after the numbers. We saw 20% yesterday. Now, all that talk of valuations being expensive, etc., is dying down slowly. In fact, Jefferies upgraded their EBITDA and EPS by 5 to 6% for 2 years, from FY24 to 26. So, I mean, the management was very optimistic. One thing, 30% growth in the second half is what they're looking at. But I'm just trying to say that when the company performs, then all the naysayers sort of die down.
Fall to the wayside, absolutely. I mean, numbers speak. So for now, 7.5%. It's a top volume-led gainer once again for the second day running. So that's where we are at. 14 points in the Nifty. Things are looking a little up.
Just one point, Prashant. In terms of Honasa, actually, we'll have to see. The real challenge will come once, the lock-in ends and, there'll be some selling. Because as of now, promoter entity has around 35%. Between institutions, they have close to 25%. So we're already at around 60%. Besides that, you have some PEs that hold a large stake out there. So actually, the float in the market is quite limited still. So numbers are good. Valuations are expensive. You can't debate on that. But for the time being, the street likes the performance that they've seen, and they believe there's huge scope to improve the profitability going ahead as well. The float, though, is a little bit limited for the time being.
No, absolutely. I think that may be helping the price action for now, but some stock will, of course, definitely come.